and welcome to episode 27 of the All Around Podcast. Today's date is Monday, October 23rd. I know it's weird we're doing this on a Monday, but it's just what happened this week.
Yeah.
I'm Jeremy. With me as always is Nick.
Hola.
We are players of the round table, and we have a little bit of things to talk about.
Yeah.
Right now it's that slow period that we're still going through.
Still solid releases, but nothing groundbreaking.
Yeah, not a lot all at once. It's as we said before we started recording, it's the calm before the storm.
100%.
So
It's gonna be bananas.
There are major titles though that we're going to talk about. 4 major ones. We'll probably start with, I guess, what we would say is the biggest, most anticipated.
I would say out of the 4. That's the time I put the most in.
True.
Especially out of this one.
So that's South Park, The Fractured Butthole. It's been a long time coming for this game. The first game came out 3 years ago. It came out in 2014. The second game was supposed to come out in April of last year. And then got pushed back to December. And then got pushed back to October of this year. And a lot of it is because this game spoofs on superheroes.
Yep.
So they were trying to do DC and Marvel references. But DC and Marvel both shut that down. So that caused a setback. But the other thing is that this game, unlike the first one, The Stick of Truth, this game is being published and developed by Ubisoft. First one was published and developed by THQ. THQ closed. Then they opened. So once THQ Nordic is what they're called now, once they reopened, they decided to fight back for the rights for South Park. So that was a whole big thing. Eventually they got it settled out between Ubisoft and South Park. Or Ubisoft and THQ and South Park. What are their names? Troy and...
Troy. Yeah. Oh,
oh
my gosh.
Matt...
Trey Parker.
And Matt Stone.
Matt Stone.
Yeah. So Trey and Matt from South Park had a whole big thing with that too. But anyway, the game, it is a turn-based RPG with a grid-like system. It came out to an 80% overall on Metacritic, a 7.6 user score, 8.5 out of IGN. I have not played it, but Nick has put a shit ton of hours into it.
Yeah, I just as of this recording, I just hit the 16-hour mark, and I'm literally just about to beat the last boss. So, I mean, I've definitely put a lot of time into it. So I can say this, for the new combat and everything else, because there is kind of a major change. Before, it was all just basic turn-based combat, like it was just essentially how like Pokemon was set up. But then now, they just put in the whole grid system like Jeremy was just talking about, which is really cool. It adds a whole nother element. It makes a lot of the moves now a lot more diverse. Because that was kind of the one problem personally I had a lot with the first one, where it was just like, oh, I could do one attack that does more damage, or one attack that does a little bit less but with elemental. And those were your only really differences. Right. But now it's like, oh, I can do this move to hit more enemies. I can do this move in this spot to heal this many people. Like, there's I mean... I always like turn-based games with grid systems because it just gives the moves so much more depth. So,
right.
It's RPG mechanics in general, but just one thing that I thought was a really good improvement for this one. Combat, I think, is really balanced. The only time and I'm also playing on the hardest difficulty that you can play on the game. The only time I've hit a really big snag was these last couple bosses. They hit with like 4 bosses at the end of the game. So that's the only time I've had like a real brick wall moment. Other than that, the game's been pretty good. The only thing I would like to say though too is, which isn't like a poor rating on the game, but I definitely thought out of the 2, Stick of Truth hit funnier moments.
Really?
Yeah. Like, there's nothing wrong with this new one. And it does have its funny moments. Like, there was definitely times I was laughing out loud. Even the way, which I won't spoil it for people, but even the way of how you select difficulty in this one it's hilarious. But, like, so it has... I think this one even more focused on a couple mechanic elements that made it funnier and fourth wall breaking, funny that way. But, yeah, I thought I distinctly remember...
Doesn't one of the loading screens say something like, if you're having difficult with the game, get good?
Yeah. There's a lot of them like that.
That's cool.
So there's a lot of subtlety like that, but there was a lot more moments I remembered vividly in Stick of Truth of, like, laughing out loud for. And, like, Fractured Butthole, like, I've been playing it, and like I said, I've been enjoying it. It's not like I've had a bad experience with it at all. But I just definitely, compared to the 2, I just think Stick of Truth was just funnier. And maybe, I mean, it's just like he brought up too. It probably is because of all of the licensing issues that it had. They probably had to cut back on so many fucking probably gut punching jokes that they had. You know what I mean? Like they probably had to rework a lot. Which, like I said, and the overall statement I would say though for the game is still absolutely play it. If you for people who have not played the first one, don't freak out. You can easily play this one and totally get into it because it's a whole new franchise. They even pretty much right at the beginning of the game completely make fun of the fact that they're just jumping from one franchise whole setup to another. Yeah. Like they pretty much blatantly say that.
The other thing too is if you have an Xbox, the Stick of Truth is backwards compatible. And if you get the day one edition of the Fractured But Whole, you get Stick of Truth with it inside.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's PS4 and Xbox One. So, regardless, if you didn't play the first one, which you should, you can do that.
Yeah. But yeah, I would definitely still say anybody who's into kind of RPGs and wants even a little bit of a laugh, plus just even like South Park. If you just love South Park humor, there's so many like Easter egg stuff of all the South Park, even like really any season. There's a bunch of jokes. So I would definitely say play it. 100% play it. Like I said, like I haven't officially beaten it yet, but from the amount of time I put, like I said, 16 hours into it, and I've loved every minute of it. So
there you go. So that was the big game. The next big game that we're going to talk about is a PlayStation exclusive that I don't even know how many years it's been since the last one came out.
My god. Well, this game's been talked about for so long.
It's been a really long time. Gran Turismo Sport finally came out, which is PlayStation's driving sim, which I don't want to say is their answer to Forza, because Forza came after Gran Turismo technically, but it's basically, Xbox has really been gaining momentum off of Forza in the last couple years, and PlayStation hasn't been hitting with it since this is the first Gran Turismo on the PS4. Mm-hmm. The last one, Gran Turismo 6, came out for the PS3, so it at least came out 4 years ago. But this one, it's one of the first games to play in 4K on the PlayStation 4 Pro. It is one of the first games that's actually using 60 frames per second the entire game. It has over 350 cars and bikes. The tracks are done with a laser grid, just like Forza 6 and Forza 7 where they actually take a laser and go across the grid, go across the track, and the laser's on each side, and it's etching it into a computer, so that as they drive around the track, every single millimeter and turn is put in like correctly. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool, but it was not it didn't live up to the hype as much as people wanted it to. It's not selling according to its what PlayStation wanted its goal to be. It's at 76% on a critical score through Metacritic. It's at a 6.2 user score, just because a lot of people said that they felt like they played this game already within Gran Turismo 6, and that if you don't have a VR, which this game is completely playable in VR, if you don't have a VR, there are things in the VR mode that aren't in the regular mode, and that they feel like they really catered it towards a VR audience without actually saying that. So a lot of people were disappointed with it, felt like maybe they could have done a lot better. IGN gave it a 7.5. Forza 7 will definitely beat it for Racing Game of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Sony.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a long time coming. It looks really cool. The graphics are incredible. From what I've seen, the steelbook that it comes with for the limited edition is really cool. I really appreciated it because it's black with like gold etching.
Yeah, well,
super simple.
I'm thinking too. I mean, I think the biggest takeaway from this one is like, first of all, I think it just has that issue that a lot of games do, and not even just racers. Like, I think the second I even heard that it was Gran Turismo Sport, I was like, oh, this isn't Gran Turismo 7.
Right.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Like
it's almost as if like when Forza Horizon first came out after 4, we were like, but then it's not Forza 5.
But then it came out and it was like, holy
it was
shit.
like, oh, good.
Awesome. That is, ironically enough, that is a rare exception when you don't hear the number and go, shit, this is better. Like, wow, they really took the Horizon and ran with it. So you would think that, and my opinion of this too, like, I thought, when I even heard Gran Turismo Sport, I was like, it's already a sport racer.
Yeah.
So
it's
like,
not a driving sim.
So then just call it 7.
Yeah.
Or go almost, I mean, like, not to copy Forza, but then go off-road or do open track
something.
Or do something different. Because when I heard that, I was like, I don't know why they just don't keep up with the number.
I mean, in this one, as opposed to the other Gran Turismos, there are more like I don't want to say Formula 1 cars because they're not Formula 1 cars, but there are more like high-end performance cars than like I don't. It's not Monte Carlo, is it? Where they do the races? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it is, okay. So those type of cars.
Yes.
There's more of those in this game than
Yes.
there are regular cars,
Yes.
as opposed to what there were in the old Gran Turismo games. So maybe that's why they went with sport.
I guess.
But,
well, yeah. And Gran Turismo has always been way more well known for imported cars. That's
yes.
their. That's
absolutely.
their huge.
Yeah.
That's their huge like car dealership partnership that they've always had, and they've always get a lot more off imports. But yeah, I think they had a lot of issues. I think, like I said, the one was the whole title. I thought the title said what it was, but they needed 7. And then the other thing was the game, and this happens with developers all the time, but it was too long of a drawn-out game.
Yes.
And the expectation only gets bigger.
Yep.
So at a certain point, I think...
Because when games get pushed back, unless they tell us a reason of why they got pushed back, like South Park got pushed back for licensing.
Yes.
Gran Turismo did not give us a reason. Yeah. They were just like, oh, it's not coming out this year.
Like, a perfect example of a game getting pushed back and then we totally understanding why was Witcher 3.
Yes,
Witcher 3 got pushed back and they said, listen, the game is too fucking big and the graphics are way too much. We don't want to put it out. And they even said day one it might have a couple glitches, but we do not want it to be as bad as what we're seeing right now. So we need to push it back 6 months. And they did. It is fucking amazing. It was so good. So, like, that was the
and
issue.
People were thankful.
Oh, 100%. And that was the thing with this, though, when, like, we heard it got pushed back, there was no detail, there was no reason. Yep. And that's scary. Because if you don't hear... Which, honestly, and especially since Xbox One and PS4 have come out, we have heard... It honestly feels like at a certain point, every other game at a time was getting pushed back.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And the big deciding factor of if that game was going to have lasting power or not was if we heard details on why.
Yep.
So.
And the other thing with Gran Turismo, not to shit on Sony, because Sony has a lot of really good games coming out in the future. This is it. Like, this is their exclusive.
This was their exclusive.
This is it. Like, their exclusives for the holiday season were Uncharted The Lost Legacy, Knack 2, Everybody's Golf, this, and The Inpatient.
Hey, don't you knock everybody's golf.
Hey, okay, whatever. It's a good game. Yeah. But, like, those are their exclusives, which, you know, Xbox doesn't have that many this year either.
That's what I was just going to say. Yeah, but, both, let's be honest, both are lacking.
But Xbox has a console.
Yes, that's true.
They have a console. And they've had games like Cuphead.
Yes.
And,
that game.
Yeah, Forza.
There we go.
I was like, what is the name of that racer?
Yeah, you can definitely, like, I think the biggest issue when it comes to developers in general, just kind of taking, like, a whole step back from the thing in general, I think Nintendo, if we can just recap the year clearly, I think Nintendo crushed on exclusives, like, which we knew they were because Nintendo's franchise, so they kind of cheated, but they went with exclusives. They went with exclusives this year, and they did a new console to build for it. Xbox had the console. They had their whole console plan for this year. That was their main thing this year. And Sony was Sony.
They just kind of took a break.
They took a break this year.
They were just like, hey, we're going to take games like Battlefront and Call of Duty and Need for Speed and pay for their marketing because we don't have any games.
That's. I'm glad you actually brought that up. That is true. I didn't even think about that. That's the one thing they stepped on was like, we're going to own these AAA titles that are coming out and own the marketing for it.
And then Xbox was like, yeah. But we have Madden and Shadow of War and Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, they
suck our
yeah, they're holding. It's definitely.
It's a third party war this year. That's what it is. It's who can capitalize on what better bundles exist. Who can capitalize on what's going on with third party, and then Nintendo's just like, we have 2 games for Game of the Year. Fuck you.
My thing is this though, like we're going completely off tangent here for a second. Sorry, but like I do just want to bring up something minor. That actually got brought up that we didn't even talk about, but it was just something I found super interesting. So, Nippon Ichi, which is like one of my favorite companies of all time, and for you, it might be speaking French, but if you don't remember the company, the primary game that they make in the States is Disgaea.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There we go. So everything aligns.
Boom!
Yeah. They do a bunch of JRPG games that always come out in the PS4 that you always look at and go, anime weeaboo game? I'll ignore it. But they do Disgaea and a bunch of other cool stuff. Which in the 100 Nights 2 got announced too, which is pretty cool. Yeah. But anyway, so one of the major producers from the company was in an interview and kind of offhandedly said some shit about Xbox. And they pretty much flat out said that Xbox does not look at a lot of JRPGs really seriously. And I completely agree with that. And that's even coming from Xbox favoritism. Sony does look at third-party markets and stuff like that, or different venues, just even, not third-party, but they just look at different venues like that a lot better. And I hope, what I'm really hoping for the love of Xbox, that they look at situations like Cuphead and realize the importance of...
yes. Yeah, of course.
But like, out there.
Microsoft also looks at the dynamic of things, too, where a lot of people that are buying PlayStations know that Sony is for JRPGs.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody that wants to play a JRPG is going to have an Xbox, and most of the people that play Xboxes don't want them. But we are getting games like the new Sword Art game is coming to it.
Yes,
that's true. Naruto has been on Xbox before. Attack on Titan 2 is coming out for it. Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out for it, which isn't really a JRPG, but it's close enough.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Final Fantasy 15 came out for it, which was a huge thing. So it is getting broken into, but at the same time, there's a lot of games that are on the Xbox that wouldn't fit on PlayStation. Like Cuphead, I don't think would have done well on PlayStation. Well, I think it could have, but I don't think it had. Xbox to me is brighter and more friendly.
It's more geared to that.
Yes,
I hear what you're saying. Yeah,
so it's Gears of War wouldn't work on a PlayStation.
Well, I'll say this. I'll word it to you this way. I think it would do even, and the main reason I bring that up because like Demon's Souls, for example, was PlayStation exclusive. And obviously the community of like die-hard, difficult games. So I think there'd be a community of that. And, I mean, let's even go off this way. JRPGs, a lover of difficult games. That's why a lot of people don't get into them. But a perfect reason why Cuphead would be cool. Yeah. But, I mean, listen, if it wasn't up for both, I would have bought it for Xbox anyway.
Right.
So, yeah. But anyway.
So that was that.
Anyway. Fucking rant.
So last week when we did the podcast, we talked about a game that kind of came out, but didn't fully came out, which was WWE. 2K18. It came out for Xbox One, PS4, and PC, and the Switch version comes out sometime this holiday. Mm-hmm. It is essentially the same thing it was last year. They added Colonel Sanders from KFC as a playable character, which is pretty dope. Kurt Angle's in it, which is pretty cool. But it's the same graphics engine that they've used since 2014. They still didn't upgrade that. You now have a My Player, which you've always had like a My Superstar thing, but now you have like a real like My Player mode like you do in 2K18 with basketball.
And plus there's a currency system with it too.
Yeah, so now you can get VC. So it is more loot box, microtransaction-y oriented like NBA is. Not quite as diehard.
Well, not nearly,
Yeah, like they didn't change too much. It is the biggest roster that they've had. And if you get the season pass, you get, I think it makes the roster bigger by 46 characters. 46 or 47 characters than it was last year. So it is definitely the biggest roster that's out there. It got a 68% on Metacritic. It got a 7.1 user score on Metacritic. It got a 7 out of 10 on IGN. Now, side tangent that doesn't really have to do with video games, but does have to do with WWE. It did pick a very good week to come out because last night was TLC, which is Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, which is a whole big thing in the WWE thing in their universe, as they call it. But Kurt Angle, who is the pre-order bonus, wrestled for the first time in 11 years last night.
Shit.
It aligned pretty cool.
That's cool.
He wrestled because there's a lot of sick wrestlers and Roman Reigns couldn't fight, so Kurt Angle came in, and it was just like they put a bulletproof vest on him because you could tell like if this man actually went through tables, he'd probably die.
Okay.
It was cool. It was like it all worked out pretty neat. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Wait, why was he? Hold on, was he trying to hide the bulletproof vest?
No. It's so. I'm not going to go into this, but there's a thing called the Shield. It's a tag team. They all wear bulletproof vests because they're like cops or whatever. I don't know.
Okay.
We can ask Kyle about it one day.
Jesus
but Kurt
Christ.
Angle took Roman Reigns' place and wore this bulletproof vest.
Got it.
And
as a police officer.
Kind of. And then he was getting hit in the abdomen with tables and ladders, and he got put in a dump truck and. Yeah.
I can't wait till they just start wearing suits of armor and just start beating the shit out of each other.
Like, for real though, like, there's this really big
medieval murders, and then they just start like.
There's this really big guy named Braun Strowman he's like 6'11". Like, he's a big dude.
Christ.
He's like 385 pounds.
Yeah, he's a certified house.
Yeah, he got thrown through the stage, and they had like
oh my god,
they had chairs. Like and not the ring, the stage, like where they
come out.
Thrown through the stage.
Oh my god!
And they have these chairs as decorations that were hanging from the ceiling, and it was a string of 10 of them. And Kane, this other really big guy, just looked at Braun Strowman down below and just pulled all the chairs down, and they all came raining down on him. And even the announcers like, he did.
Oh my god.
But anyway, yeah. Jesus. So that event was more exciting than the game coming out. But
build up hype for it.
And
they probably put in like 55 ads throughout to promote the game.
Yeah. Be like no one over and over again while watching the event.
Yep.
So that was cool. But the game's iffy. The event was cool, but the game's, it's the same thing as it was last year. So that's a thing. If you want to pick it up, you can. Like I said, Switch isn't out yet. It comes out in December-ish.
Yes.
They don't have a date for it yet, though.
They do not.
So sometime in the future.
Yeah, we're still waiting. Hopefully it doesn't have a memory expansion. Like other 2K.
So, for those of you that don't know, NBA 2K18 requires 24 gigs on an SD card and an internet connection to play.
Yep. Hopefully wrestling does not follow suit in that.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, so one other big game came out, which you're going to talk about.
Yes.
It came out on the Switch and the new 3DS XL and new 2DS XL.
Mm-hmm.
It only works on the new systems because it requires that extra analog stick and the buttons in the back. It is the third game to do this. The first one was Xenoblade Chronicles X, right?
Just Xenoblade Chronicles.
Oh, I thought it was that. No, X was Wii U.
Yeah.
So Xenoblade Chronicles and Minecraft requires it, which is not out physically yet, just digitally. But the game we're talking about now is Fire Emblem Warriors.
Yes.
So you can go ham on.
So, really quick, what were the reviews for it?
So 75% Metacritic, 7.9 user score. It did not have one through IGN that I could find.
That makes sense. So honestly, it hit the mark it needed to for a Nintendo game. Personally, I'll set it up this way. So pretty much it's set up exactly like Hyrule Warriors. And that sounds terrible to kind of immediately compare it like that, but it's the best way to kind of get the message across.
That is what it is.
Exactly.
It's a Fire Emblem Dynasty Warriors crossover.
Exactly.
The same way Hyrule Warriors was a Legend of Zelda Dynasty Warriors crossover.
So Koei Tecmo pretty much hand ran the thing, which they've been known for the Dynasty Warriors franchise. So they took the same treatment that Zelda had with Hyrule Warriors and did the exact same thing. A bunch of like full roster characters from a bunch of the different Fire Emblem series. The boss battles are a pretty cool setup. The combat's pretty solid. Biggest two complaints that people have had, though, and this is with every Dynasty Warriors game, combos are pretty repetitive.
Yep.
And stage fights that they just wish that there were more of, in general. I personally wish they really would have taken more of what Hyrule Warriors was. If for people who didn't know, one amazing feature that Hyrule Warriors had that kept the game going was they had this whole separate quest mode where it took a top-down full map of the original Legend of Zelda and had quests for every tile of the map.
Oh, that's cool.
And had certain quests that need to be fulfilled so you'd eventually fill up the map, which is super awesome. And with Fire Emblem being a grid-based combat game, like, the originals, right. I thought that, they're easily going to do that.
Yeah.
They did not. Which is really shitty. I really wanted that treatment. And don't get me wrong, obviously Zelda is a bigger title than Fire Emblem. I'm not going to argue that ever. That'd be insane. I mean, personally, that would be insane to argue.
See, I might argue it, though. Zelda's a bigger franchise overall.
That's what I mean.
But in the terms of Fire Emblem genre, I think Fire Emblem might be one of the biggest games in that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, like, here's the thing. I'm not and coming from a dude who's played like every Fire Emblem ever, I'm not discrediting it. I'm just saying if you would hear Legend of Zelda or Fire Emblem, which one would put more time into?
Legend of Zelda.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So, like, that's where it's obvious. But especially with how much time has passed since that came out, I would have really liked to see them really jump on the ball and really go ham with this one, especially because, in my opinion, I think Fire Emblem has been in the strong makings of a comeback. With Fire Emblem Awakening really being groundbreaking for 3DS still, in my opinion, then killing it with Fates. Echoes did okay to keep the torch burning, and then in between Fates and in between Fates and Echoes, they did Fire Emblem Heroes.
Yeah. Which
I think was still really good, and especially like a great app game to kind of break out of the market.
Plus, Smash Bros. Helped.
Oh my god. Well, Smash Bros. Put Fire Emblem way back on Melee Marth and Roy being in that character roster put Fire Emblem on the radar
In
for North America in general. That's like I'll argue that with anybody because there's a lot of like weeaboos that argue that shit. I will argue that with any person on the planet.
Weeaboos.
Well, it's true because you know what I mean. They're like, actually, and it's like, get the fuck out of here. It did. It opened up the whole market. If you were a diehard fan before that happened, great. Good for you. You get a special secret.
But if it wasn't for Melee, I wouldn't know fucking shit about it.
That's what I'm saying exactly. And listen, I knew of Fire Emblem beforehand, but they really got me into like, oh shit, these characters are awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, to back it up more to the game. So the game kind of hits those same points. If you're a fan of Dynasty Warriors, play it. It's very good. If you're a fan of Fire Emblem and are okay with that type of combat setup, play it. If you're expecting the exact 100% same treatment that Hyrule Warriors got, you'll be disappointed. If you're expecting a super advanced combo system or something very new and groundbreaking, you'll be disappointed.
Yep.
The ratings, it's just like how Jeremy said, the ratings directly reflect the game. If you're a diehard Fire Emblem fan, you'll love it. If you're looking for something crazy, new, and out there, I'm sorry, this isn't the one. But at least it's another solid game that the Switch has.
Yeah.
So, I'll take it.
And 3DS.
Exactly. Oh, yes, exactly.
And 3DS.
Yes.
Now, while we're talking about this, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you think Hyrule Warriors could get a sequel on the Switch?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Definitely. I think...
When they first announced Fire Emblem Warriors, I started thinking, okay, does that mean they're not doing Hyrule Warriors 2 and they're going to do Fire Emblem Warriors instead? And then I was like, but they don't have another like franchise to really go after this. They can't really make another one of them into Warriors.
I have two, actually.
What?
Pokemon. And they could more... Well, hold on, bear with me. They could even more so do it, especially after Pokken Tournament, which is a weird game to bring up because it's
but a Warriors game is a hack and slash.
Exactly. But that's where I feel like you could just have any Pokemon just do, like, a bunch of rando attacks.
Yeah, I guess.
I think it's definitely possible. And also, the popularity would be fucking insane.
Yeah, Pokemon Warriors.
And another one I think that would be...
They call it Kanto Warriors.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Exactly. And then sequels on sequels on sequels. And then and then they could easily... And I said this, the day they talked about Hyrule Warriors, I still think to this day they should do Mushroom Kingdom Warriors. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Bowser, Yoshi. Mario doing punches and then doing spellcaster shit with fireballs. Dude, I'm telling you, like, here's the thing. It's a tough sell, but if you'd see the game I'm envisioning,
at the same time, though, I think
good.
That's why they just did Mario Rabbids crossover. To put Mario in a different franchise.
True, but I'm saying...
I mean, at this point...
I could see him in a hack and slash.
At this point, a hack and slash is the only genre they haven't touched.
And I need him in it.
But, all right.
I need him in it.
They could probably do F-Zero before they did that.
No.
Yes.
No, they'll do Mushroom Kingdom before F-Zero.
Punch.
I mean,
Wait, Star Fox Warriors?
Yes.
Yeah. Could we get Star Fox Warriors?
Yes, they could.
Kirby Warriors? Dreamland Warriors? Meta Knight?
No.
Meta Knight is a hack and slash?
I didn't even think of it.
Oh, shit.
And they could take Melee's combo system. Oh, damn. This is where we keep... I hate...
Wait. Punch-Out Warriors?
That'd be... Well, see, you could just do
I know. I'm just... That was a joke. That wasn't something...
Just a million... No, we're going down. A million King Hippos. Just going in. Yep. Oh, God.
The original Donkey Kong Warriors. It's just Donkey Kong throwing a barrel at you over and over.
I will... No, but I... Actually, going off Donkey Kong, that'd be good, because, dude, they have enough Kongs.
No, this is
They have enough Kongs for an entire roster. And imagine the crocodile enemies. There's a million different crocodile enemies they could do.
That's true.
They have options. That's all I'm saying.
Earthbound Warriors.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. All right, we gotta stop.
Yes.
So
There's
anyway,
too many.
So going off of game theory things...
Going off Nintendo.
Yeah. So recently, there were a lot of people that were talking about Super Mario Odyssey because Pauline, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Pauline is the name of the character that was the original damsel in distress in Donkey Kong. Like the original Donkey Kong when you played as Jumpman going up the scaffolding to go up to get the princess away from the giant monkey.
Yes, which a lot of people get confused with Peach, but originally
she was
Pauline.
not Peach. Her name was Pauline.
Mm-hmm.
Pauline is the mayor of New Donk City.
Still a great name.
Yeah. Which is New York City, but Mushroom Kingdom's version.
Yeah.
In Super Mario Odyssey.
It's Donkey Kong's version.
Yeah, Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
But what somebody has theorized, which is not yet confirmed, but it's really, really cool to think about, is when you played the original Donkey Kong games, you were going up what looked like buildings being built.
Like scaffoldings and stuff.
Which would then become New Donk City, only for Super Mario Odyssey to revisit. And at some point in this game, Mario is going to run into Pauline. And people are already speculating whether she's going to call him Mario or say something like, oh, you're like a little jump man, or like something like that, which is going to be really, really cool. And that's just something I wanted to bring up because it's just like Nintendo really thought about that making this game. And we don't know everything about this game yet. There's a poster that I've seen where Mario is a tank.
Yes! Tank Mario now!
Which Curtis has so politely called Call of Doot Doot. He goes, oh, look at the little Call of Doot Doot. And he took a snapshot of it. He goes, "This year's Call of Duty looks dope."
I know. I want like Mario first-person shooter in Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
There's like a war level.
Yep, he just becomes a tank.
I just can't even imagine in what context a real tank is happening in the game. For then also Mario to go, wait a minute. Take it over.
Whoa.
Take it over.
He probably goes into Call of Duty's universe.
Listen, I mean, a tank sounds crazy, but you still can't beat the initial trailer of the fucking T-Rex with a mustache.
Oh, yeah. T-Rex with a mustache and a
I
little
just
hat.
want them to keep going. I just want, like, still even
you
before
can
the
literally
game.
take over anything in this game.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just want, though, as the game keeps, like, slowly but surely about to come out, I just want more crazy shit. I want, like, Mario eventually, like, right at the end of the game, just take his cap off and then just put it on the ground and then he takes control of the planet.
It's like, wait a second. Oh, shit! My name's Ego. I'm a living planet. What I really want is I really want you to be able to go around New Donk City and find the arcade cabinet to play Donkey Kong.
Oh, that'd be sick.
That's what I really want
to find. That'd be so cool.
But anyway, so that was a little tangent, but that's really cool.
Yeah,
so there's a couple things we got to talk about, which are just news related.
Yes.
Dragon Ball Z Fighters, or Dragon Ball Fighters, got a release date this morning of January 26th, which is a lot sooner than I thought.
Fucking awesome. It's so good. It's because they've been working on it so hard. You can tell every week.
February, so I was just like, okay, the end of February. Yeah. And now it's like the end of January, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Well, February's like anime month for games. Like, that's when it's usually like anime on anime games. So it's cool that we're getting a little bit earlier.
Yeah, so there's that, and they announced a season pass for it, which is going to be $35, includes 8 characters, they didn't tell us who, as well as costumes and...
stages, bunch of stuff.
There you go. Yep. So that's all coming out, Xbox One and PS4 and PC.
Mm-hmm.
I guess let's talk about this, because we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
So we can talk about this.
Yeah, go for it.
So something else happened this week in the gaming world, which is a little controversial, going off of both of these next two topics. EA decided to close Visceral Games. Visceral was a subdivision of EA, just in the same way that BioWare is. Mm-hmm. And Visceral were working on a Star Wars game, which was a single-player game, which everybody was really excited for, because we haven't had one of those since The Force Unleashed 2, which has now been canceled, so that's not happening. But they were also the company that worked on the Dead Space series, and they gave us numbers for Dead Space, telling us that, the first game did awesome, it did really well. The second game only sold 4 million copies, which you're like, oh, 4 million copies, that's awesome. Everybody knows Dead Space. Well, apparently, 4 million was 6 million shy of what they needed to sell over the lifetime from when Dead Space 2 to now. It happened. So they didn't meet that mark. They were really upset. And Dead Space 3, they decided that Dead Space was too scary. So Dead Space 3 was more of an action game. Cover shooter.
Which a lot of horror games, like Resident Evil 6, there were so many games that did that.
And they all did it at the same time.
Yep.
But EA just didn't feel the need to keep Visceral open and make more Dead Space. So they just decided to close them, along with other studios that they've closed in the past. Which,
so
great. That sucks for a lot of different reasons.
For Dead Space fans.
Well, they did say, though, that, EA could give Dead Space to another developer.
Especially based off the way Dead Space 3 ended.
Yeah. But, some journalists, I guess you want to call them, some people that write things, because journalism's, dead, But anyway, so some journalists out there
Mm-hmm.
are saying that they're now scared for BioWare because
Yeah.
of how
I
bad
can
Mass
see it.
Effect did.
Yeah.
And Dragon Age Inquisition did not sell as much as they wanted it to.
It's true.
And even though BioWare is working on Anthem as well as working
Yeah.
on the next Dragon Age, if neither one of those games do well, BioWare absolutely could close.
I think so. I think right now it's under review. I think it's way too soon to call it, but yeah, I think that they took a misstep in general with those past 2 games. So we'll see how it goes. But they're a powerhouse, and I have faith.
Yeah.
That's always been my whole thing.
But it's a little discerning, that we wake up and there's just a studio that did a massive amount of impact on a lot of gamers' lives in the 360 PS3 era. It's just they're just close.
Well, listen, man, Dead Space is one of my favorite horror
Mine
genres
too.
ever. Like, even when it comes to lore, I mean, like, Jesus
and then
Christ.
you had Isaac Clarke show up in PlayStation All Stars because people knew who he was. It was just like, but that, and then going off of going back 2 years ago when Disney just closed Avalanche Studios one day and they were just like, oh, sorry, Disney Infinity and all your games are over. Like, that's what happened to Visceral. They went into work and they were just like, yeah, no, sorry, like, you're done.
It's
like,
it.
You're closed.
That's a wrap, yeah.
And, like, they were in the middle of making this game. And it's just, it's discerning to see that. Like,
it just sucks.
It's sad.
And you want to know the worst part? There's a lot of people that don't even know that this happened.
Yeah, I know.
That is the thing that upsets me so much about this stuff, is we see a lot of, like, gaming stuff talk about, and especially, I mean, there's so many games, there's so much coming out and stuff, so I mean there's a lot of news to talk about, and even we have a tough time dissecting a lot of it, but like, this is important. It's stuff that should be talked about more, and I mean, especially when it comes to whole gaming franchises shutting down. I mean, there should be
everybody now in this studio, like, I'm sure EA is doing something to help the people that are displaced now, but like, it's a lot of people that don't have jobs now.
Exactly.
It's just like, nope, you're not good enough. Sorry, closing you.
I mean, usually, that's the one thing, thank God, that is so nice with most of the gaming companies, is they're typically very accepting of when these things happen to try to help like other game developers out and stuff like that. So I do love that when it comes to most gaming companies, but overall it just sucks.
Yeah.
It's just shitty. There's no really better way to describe it.
So that happened with one of the major companies in the gaming industry. Let's talk about the thing that happened with the other major gaming industry, or gaming companies in the industry, which is Activision. Because Activision are being sneaky little bitches.
Yeah, so to kind of... We'll talk about this as generically as we can. Honestly, we could do a whole nother podcast rant, almost like we did with loot boxes last time.
Yep, and we could be extremely biased,
yes,
but we're going to try not to be.
We'll first bring up information, then we'll talk about our opinions, which probably have some bias in them. So, the major thing is that Activision refiled for a patent that now became public knowledge.
Yep.
The patent was originally filed in 2014 and just got renewed, as of recording this, as of the 23rd, it is still under review to get renewed for another year.
Yep.
But starting from 2014, it was for any Activision title, which means any game that was online multiplayer that had Activision anywhere on that game case.
Destiny, Call of Duty,
Overwatch, a bunch of major shit.
Which all Blizzard games, because Blizzard and Activision are the same company.
Yes.
Let's not forget this.
Yes.
So Overwatch, Here's the Storm, Hearthstone, World of Warcraft.
Yes.
Like, your big major multiplayer titles.
Yes.
Plus Call of Duty, plus Destiny.
Yes.
What else did Activision do in those years?
Those and millions more. But the most important thing is that, so their patent for this was to intentionally match players that had an abundance of loot box earnings that they spent actual currency on, like their real money, and intentionally would match them with players that did not and have not bought in loot boxes or card packs for Hearthstone or anything like that, and are intentionally matching these players. And the reason being is to then encourage players who have not bought loot boxes or have not paid money into these games to then pitch money into them.
Because then they'd be like, oh, I can get that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Because they see somebody else use it. They don't just see it on the menu or see it as a possibility. They're just like, oh, man, like, that's cool. Like, let's take Black Ops 3, for instance.
Yeah.
And the black market that they had in there.
Yeah.
And the crazy swords and stuff like that people would get. And be like, oh, those are cool. Well, then they would intentionally match people up that don't have them with people that do have them. So the people that don't have them are like, oh, man, it is really cool. I better spend that $15 to get the sword.
So, that's the news of it. That is what got public domain. It has been, like I said, just to reiterate, that has been running since 2014. It's
and
under
nobody
review.
knew.
Exactly. Nobody knew about it.
It's not public knowledge.
It is not public knowledge until about
a week ago.
2 weeks ago, which I've seen a lot of YouTubers and stuff talk about already. We have to talk about our opinion with it. Which, my opinion of it is, this is just blatantly fucking diabolical.
Yeah, it's not like in our last episode we talked about the loot boxes, and if you watched it, we gave our opinions on why loot boxes are good, why they're bad, how we feel about them. This is one of the reasons it's not okay.
Yeah.
Because it's the companies like Activision have too much control over what's going on with them.
Yes.
And it's not just, oh hey, let me open this loot box and get this cool skin. It's okay, you have that loot box, so you get partnered with this person, so they buy the loot box and get that skin.
Exactly.
And everything has different ratios. So if it's a loot box thing, and you get this legendary skin in Overwatch, and you go out and you're playing out in the thing, and people see that you have this crazy skin, well, that skin's harder to get. So what are you going to do? You're going to buy more loot boxes, so that you can get higher chances of getting that skin. And it's just, it's not okay.
It's just shady. It's horrifically shady. And the other major, just yet again, the other issue is going into loot boxes. One thing, not going into everything, but one major thing that me and Jeremy talked about was it's totally okay for a company to put out loot boxes just in general to have a separate form of currency to be able to make money and entice players if they want to. The way they're setting this up with multiplayer, Overwatch is not an extreme example because it's
all cosmetic.
Exactly. But you do have games like Call of Duty.
Yeah, like
that
Black
are
Ops
guns.
3 that was extremely pay to win.
You have exactly. It's a pay to win system. There's a lot of guns that give you a major advantage on other players.
Yeah. Or the swords and the crossbow and almost everything that was on the black market.
And what they're saying with this patent is directly that they were intentionally online matchmaking players that did not have these perks, just purely to bully them into the fact of getting them. Now, of course, to not even play devil's advocate, but just to kind of back up a little so we're not doing 100% trash talk.
Yep.
Yes. Could skill eventually outweigh perks? Of course. Of course.
And the other thing, too, is you have these items in the game. You're going to want people to know that they're there.
Yes.
So if you don't look at the black market in Black Ops 3, you might not know that they even exist.
Yes.
So you see them in the game. So you're like, oh, wow, that exists. That's cool. But that wasn't their intention.
Well, and also, and that's the whole point. And that should be spread naturally through the gaming community with basic online matchmaking features.
Yep.
The way that this is set up is completely against...
I guess it explains why it's so damn hard to find a game nowadays.
Exactly. Is completely against what gaming is about.
Yep.
100%. I could not be protesting this method enough.
After reading and hearing all the stuff about this, the people that are out there saying, and I mean, this is not to say EA is not also doing this. We don't know who else is doing this.
Multiple companies could be doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
The major red flag, at least for right now, is that Activision got had to put this out as public knowledge.
Yes. So other companies could be doing this, but let's just say for the sake of them that EA's not doing it. Okay, let's just, for the sake of this argument, let's just say EA's not doing it. People want to bash EA for making Battlefront 2 pay to win because of the loot boxes. Your argument is now completely invalid.
Yeah.
Sure, pay to win to get the better guns, but they're not making you do it the way Call of Duty is. It's a completely different thing. And now that's not to, I love Call of Duty. I think Call of Duty stories are really good. I think the gameplay's good. I think the zombies are good. I'm still going to buy this year's game. I'm still going to play this year's game. But I'm not spending any money on it. If I lose, I lose. Oh, well, who cares? I don't give a shit. But, I still want to play the game.
So, this leads into a big issue with the gaming community in general.
Yeah.
Since this got put out as public domain, there's been... Activision has only hit flack on this, which is fully deserved. The biggest issue that a lot of gamers have with this whole thing is the same thing that we do. And the worst part is Activision isn't backing down. They filed for this patent.
Yep, and they're still trying to get it.
They're still trying to get it, and they pretty much told players that if they don't understand all the legality when it comes to this, to then just be patient and figure it out. Keep in mind, you can look on the official government website of patents, and it is a 2-sentence patent.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
I don't understand how people wouldn't be able to fucking read into this properly. How the fuck do you misread 2 sentences off an official patent? It's just wrong. Mm-hmm. It's wrong in every sense of the word. To fucking guide players, to put players into your community, and then intentionally give them a disadvantage out of the gate. It's wrong. It's never how a gaming company should.
It is okay to put loot boxes in there. It is okay to get stuff extra that people want to buy. Yes, you can earn all this stuff in the game, but the way that they're going about it to make more money is just not okay.
No, it's totally wrong. And the other thing is, a lot of gamers, like we said, have been protesting this. And another thing is that...
Yeah, because you said how many Destiny 2 players have gone
away? Oh, well, yeah, here. So I'll give you the stats here in a sec. So Call of Duty, as of at least this moment, has lost roughly online about an 1/8% of their player base. The past 2 tournaments have been boycotted by numerous players and fans.
Yep.
Destiny 2 has currently, at this moment, lost a 1/4 of their gaming community because of this. Now, obviously, the gaming community will come back. More new players might get into it.
And Destiny is a little different because Destiny doesn't really have anything that you buy in-game. You have the shaders, which are cosmetics, but you can't really buy anything else. So Destiny, I get it. They're boycotting an Activision game, but they're boycotting the wrong game.
Yes. But at the same time, it's Activision.
Yes.
So to boycott the cloud, it's not 100% misguided.
No.
But it's understandable. Well, and also, too, I don't know if I brought this up to you. I don't think we talked about this at all. There are going to be, though, a lot more perks for Season 2 of Destiny 2 that is going to be currency-based.
But there is also going to be ice hockey in Season 2.
And snowball fights.
Yes, so Zach and I will be playing ice hockey the whole time. You all can raid. We'll be playing hockey in the hub world.
So anyway. So there's that. And then also, same thing with Overwatch. Sadly, a lot of Overwatch tournaments have been getting boycotted and stuff like that.
Which again is just cosmetics, but it's still the parent company.
It's still the parent company, and it's still it's messed up. And my whole thing of it is the fact that we've always kind of had our opinion that Activision always seemed more money than gaming. Mm-hmm. And personally,
they're a little bit more of the system than we'd like them to be.
And listen, and I'll be honest, I would have loved to been proven wrong on that.
Yeah.
And to this day, I'd love for that to change.
I still love their games. Like, Destiny 2 is great. Yeah. All of Blizzard's games are great. Call of Duty is great. 100%. All of Activision's games are awesome. But Activision's not awesome.
Call of Duty's in between. But
sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Lately. The new one would be cool.
Depends. It's like a coin flip with that.
Yeah.
But, exactly. But, that's what happens when you put out a game every year.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so we just wanted to bring it up. We didn't want to go, super ham on it. We just want to bring it up to you guys. It's yet again, it's just like how you brought up with Visceral. It's ironically public knowledge, but it's not as well known as I would like people to know.
And people are just like, oh, loot box stuff. I don't feel like reading it.
Exactly, but it's
so nobody reads into it.
It's so important because it affects everyone.
Yes.
And that's the most important part. If you're like, oh, I don't buy loot boxes, it doesn't matter. It affects you then directly because you're not buying loot boxes.
And the other thing too is a lot of gaming companies are also speaking out against Activision. One of which was Sledgehammer. Sledgehammer actually came out and made a very big point to say that a lot of the online matchmaking that will be done for Call of Duty World War II will be done by the developer, not the publisher, as it should be most of the time anyway, but Activision has control so they can do what they want.
Yeah.
But Sledgehammer did say that they have more control over it than Treyarch and Infinity Ward have had the past couple years.
Yeah.
So World War II might kind of be more of a saving grace, especially if enough gaming companies speak out to the point where we can get this patent boycotted. But then again, without public knowledge, there might be just as many gaming companies doing this that don't want this to go away so they can have it again too, because that seems to be what's happening.
Well, and here's also kind of the problem too. We have this issue of Activision being known for it. They're they're debatably the biggest company ever to be doing it.
They're also one of the biggest gaming companies
in general. Yes, that's even more what I meant. So the thing is too, it's like, even God forbid if we find out in the next couple months other gaming companies are doing this, Activision is the devil now.
Yes.
Like, they're the main bad guy.
Yep.
If another company gets found out for doing it, it's like, okay, but Activision's the main, when it could be, when we could secretly find out.
And, like, EA could come out and be like, well, we only did it because Activision did it.
Yeah, exactly. But then it's going to be even funnier, too, because God forbid, what if EA comes out with this? Here's going to be a scary part. What if EA comes out with this? First of all, the 2K community is going to be completely torn asunder, because then that's what it's essentially saying is if people bought VC, they're intentionally matching the people who didn't buy VC.
Well, no, that's 2K, not EA.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that. So let's flip on. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me go to 2K.
So
then.
2K comes out and says
exactly,
it.
Yeah. So if 2K comes out and says that, sorry, I was generalizing sports. It's my fault. I seriously was.
You sportist.
I know. Yeah, exactly. God, they all kick a ball.
Kick a ball.
Sorry. So with 2K, yeah, if they do that, they would essentially be admitting that they match those players. And then here's the thing too. It's like we found out this patent in 2014. There could be a lot of companies that have been doing it even earlier. And that's what's scary.
Smaller companies though, like I almost wouldn't have a problem with, because they're smaller companies, they're not making enough money, they're trying to put out big games. It makes more sense. Follow what the big guys are doing. Understand what they're doing so you do it too.
Yeah.
That makes more sense. But if EA, 2K, which by the way, 2K is Take-Two Interactive, which is also Rockstar. Mm-hmm. So you have 2K and Rockstar doing it. You have Activision doing it. You have EA doing it. Right there are three of the biggest gaming companies all doing the same thing. Yeah. And that's not to say that they are, but if we find out that they are, which it's more than likely that they are, it winds up all becoming a huge issue. And there's going to wind up being a lot of backlash and a lot of protesting and a lot of...
That's a huge deal. I mean, it's literally, just even Activision. What? I mean, I'm just ballparking this. Like, that's 70% of the community is somehow, of the gaming community in general, is somehow affected with Activision?
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form? I'm gonna be lying. Please. I'd love to see actual statistics of this. But,
let's
just
break
one
it
of the
down
biggest gaming companies. How many people are affected by it?
Say 35% of the gaming company involved in AAA titles have something to do with Activision. Yeah,
that's crazy.
And if you break it down, it winds up being 60 to 70% are dealt with Activision, Take-Two, and EA.
And EA, that's what I'm saying. That's huge.
Because even if you don't realize it, EA is all of your sports games except 2K and WWE.
Exactly.
Plus Battlefront and Battlefield, plus Need for Speed, plus The Sims 4. EA is a lot of games you don't realize is EA. And Activision is Destiny, all of Blizzard, and Call of Duty.
It's huge.
And Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah. Not Crash loot boxes! Not Crash Gun and multiplayer! But,
so that's a thing.
So apologies about the rant, but it was well needed. It was well needed. Please let us know your thoughts on that one in the comments. We'd love to know.
Yep.
Whether you're for it, whether you're okay with it for some reason. We'd like to know.
Yeah. So now we have a happy announcement.
Yes.
So starting tomorrow on the 24th.
Some good news.
Yeah, the original Xbox games are starting to become backwards compatible, and the first 13 of them will go live tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And they picked 13 really good games and totally missed the mark on one. So we'll go through the ones that they announced, and then I'll tell you the one that they should have announced because it just makes sense given the time.
Yep.
But anyway, Black, which was a really, really fun game.
Yes.
Blood Rain 2. Crimson Skies, which we knew was coming, they announced that at E3.
Yep.
Dead to Rights. Fusion Frenzy, which I totally saw coming.
Mm-hmm.
Grabbed by the Ghoulies. King of Fighters Neo Wave. Ninja Gaiden Black.
Really good one. Prince
of Persia Sands of Time, which I'm super excited about. I can't wait to play. Red Faction 2, which Nick said that he forgot there were Red Faction games before Guerrilla.
I honestly did.
So that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sid Meier's Pirates. And then the two big ones. Okay? I don't know which one to say first.
Do
that one first?
No.
Okay, alright. Psychonauts.
Awesome.
Right? Which is super, super exciting.
So good.
But then, the one that I can't wait to play is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. And I'm super excited. Because not only are these games backwards compatible, but the Xbox One and Xbox One S will give them graphical updates to perform better and almost look like remaster. They've done a lot of lighting and a lot of shadowing effects to it. But the Xbox One X will run these games in 4K, which is just completely mind-blowing.
What?
I cannot wait. I am super excited.
Oh my God.
Especially to play Star Wars The Old Republic. You guys can go on to...
In 4K.
In 4K. I'm so excited. You guys can go on and you can look at, I think it was like GameSpot or IGN, one of those things.
Look it up online.
There is a graphics comparison for Knights of the Old Republic.
It's
that
worth
you can see
to
between
check
an
out.
Xbox One and a One S. It's not even the 4K part. And it is just... It's an incredible graphical update. It's
so
not
good.
a remake. It's just an HD remaster.
But it's
the same way that,
significant.
it's the same way that
very
like Sly
significant.
Cooper and Jack and Daxter went from PS2 to PS3. But it's just...
It looks a lot better.
It's awesome.
It really does. It looks a lot better.
But you would think that out of the one game they could have made backwards compatible, since all of these games that we listed are backwards compatible from the original to the 360, you would think that they would have put Halo 2 in this. You know, since they remade Halo 1, and then 3, 4, Reach, and ODST are all now backwards compatible.
Yep.
You'd think they would have made 2 backwards compatible, but I guess we gotta wait for that like we waited for the other Halos.
Like, literally, Jeremy was reading off to me the list, and literally, like, as he was done reading, I was like, oh, where's Halo 2? And you were like, it's not on there. I was like,
Yeah, no,
how
it's
the
not
fuck
on the list.
is it not on there?
They missed it.
Halo and Halo 2. I can't believe... I mean, don't get me wrong.
Halo I understand, though, because the Combat Anniversary, or the Anniversary Edition is...
Well, even, yeah, and here's the thing, too, and that's why I'm trying to, like, even back up a genre, because the Master Chief Collection did have a full 1080p remake of Halo 2.
Yeah, it did.
So, it did. But I'd like to
to
play the original.
Yes.
And it's backwards compatible, like, just make... The one thing I did find very odd, though, and back me up on this, because they put out this list for the original 13 that are coming out.
Yep.
One game, though, that they promoted day one that is not on this list, so it still might be in the middle, is Jade Empire. They brought up Jade Empire.
They did, but they never confirmed it.
Well,
they said...
They didn't say it was a day one, but they promoted it as if this is one of the... That one, Crimson Skies, and I think there was one other one.
No, it was just those two.
It was just
those two, and then they mentioned Fusion Frenzy at one point.
Yes, yeah. So they were mentioning multiple games, but I do find it very interesting that Jade Empire's not one of the first. Especially, I mean, here's the thing, though. We got Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes. Yeah.
So definitely a better upgrade, especially when it comes to BioWare reminiscing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would love to see Jade Empire. I think that was cool. I would love, too. I would love for this to come out, get the buzz back, and I'd love a sequel.
You know what else I would love?
Love a sequel.
If they could do Jedi Outcast.
Yes.
Backwards compatible.
Hell yes.
So, yeah. So anyway, so that's a really, really cool thing.
Super awesome.
That pretty much wraps it up for this episode.
Yeah.
We are going to be talking about a couple things on the next podcast.
Jesus Christ.
Which is not as much as you would think.
That's true.
Animal Crossing tomorrow is having a direct for their Animal Crossing mobile game. So on the next podcast, we'll talk about that. We'll recap.
Hopefully it's good.
He's super excited.
Hashtag pray in the comments that it's good. I want it to be good.
Give one of these emojis, which is supposed to be a high five, but people use it as praying.
Please.
Use that emoji. Put that. In
the
comments.
Or this one isn't this one praying? Well, at least I always do it as praying.
I don't know. No. The one that's got like it's the two hands that's got like the sparks around it.
Yeah.
People think that's praying, but that's actually a high five emoji.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a high five emoji. It's not praying, but people use it as praying. So put that one. Put the high five emoji that you think is praying.
Yes.
Do that. So we're talking about that. Talking about Just Dance 2018, which
breaking boundaries
is coming out on Xbox One, PS4, Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Wii U, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, PC, and the Wii.
How it has not come out on the new 3DS is beyond me.
Or our phones.
Yes. Well,
which, by the way, you can use your phone as a controller.
As a controller,
now.
technically,
but,
for PlayStation.
Oh, and they got rid of the Gold Edition. There's no Gold Edition because there's, like, just whatever. The pre-order bonus is like 3 months of Just Dance Unlimited because, you know, they just don't care anymore. They're just like, hey, look, another Wii game.
They're just like, oh shit, you pre-ordered it?
It's like, oh my god. Like, somebody bought this on the Wii? I knew we did this for a reason.
We have to give you something.
It's that one family in Kentucky.
Listen, dude, they still keeps making it for the Wii.
Whatever.
There's that community.
So there's that. Okay, Just Dance is still a thing.
Yep.
Destiny 2 is coming out on PC. And then we're going to talk about the PlayLink games. And for those of you that don't know what the PlayLink games are, which Just Dance should be a fucking PlayLink game at this point.
Yeah, really.
You use your phone as the controller. Hello. So phone as the controller. There's 4 games that are coming out. I just love that it did hello.
Hello.
There's 4 games that are coming out for it.
To gamers.
Yep. There's 4 games that are coming out. One of them is called Hidden Agenda. One of them is called Knowledge is Power. One of them is called That's You, which is like this cool, like, I actually played this because you can play it now, just they're coming out physically. But That's You is like this really cool game where you're like making fun of the other players. It's like, which player is like most likely to eat glue?
Yeah.
And you have like selfies, you gotta pick the people. It's kind of fun. It's a cool little party game. And then SingStar. SingStar is coming back as SingStar Celebration as a PlayLink game, which I guess you use your phone as a microphone, which is kind of dumb. I'd rather have a real microphone, but whatever. But those all launch tomorrow along with Just Dance and Destiny, so we'll talk about those in the next podcast.
Yeah.
But there's games that are coming out this week that you probably would expect us to have mentioned coming out in the next podcast.
Particularly three
major ones, which all come out on the same day.
Yes.
But those games are Assassin's Creed Origins, Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus, and Super Mario Odyssey. And the reason they're not in the next podcast is because we are going to be doing them in a little bit of a different way. And we'll be explaining that in the next couple of days, so keep your eyes peeled, especially on Friday when we put up a cool little video talking about it.
Yes.
And we'll go into all that in that video, and you guys will understand what's going on. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, just quick kind of moral of the story. As much, just to foreshadow a little bit here, as much effort as we put into our E3 coverage is how much coverage we're going to be putting on games lately.
It'll be more, though. It'll
Exactly.
be a lot more.
Way more. Because there's way more coverage, and as opposed to us talking about the games coming out, these games are out.
Yeah.
So we need to talk about them, how they play, how they work, what we think of them.
So cool things are
all of that stuff. So yeah, we just want to let everybody know there's been a couple slow weeks. We're finally getting what I would say on a really good track again.
Yep, everything is coming out at once. And there are 17 major titles in 3 weeks.
Exactly. So now, if anything, Jeremy and myself are going to go more ham than ever, essentially, when it comes to
You will see
content.
us on your Facebook a lot.
Yes, and YouTube.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But, speaking of YouTube, you can always
What's YouTube?
Stop.
I always do that.
The viewer just immediately is just like the webpage gets deleted. Anyway, guys, if for some crazy reason you're checking us out, you're liking our videos, and have not subscribed yet, which would be super weird, you can always hit the subscribe button right here.
You know, we do typically have more views than we do subscribers.
That's very true. So for some reason, I don't know why you guys keep checking out and don't subscribe, but always subscribe right there. Check out all our videos when we're putting them out. If
you want to see our pretty faces.
Exactly. And if you would like to know exactly when we're posting our videos, you want to watch them as soon as possible, because we try to put them out as quick as we can. Always hit the notification bell that is right next to it. Right down there, so you can get all the updates of when we're putting out videos, when info that we put in between the YouTube channels and stuff.
You can choose to get text messages or emails or both.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Which is pretty cool through YouTube.
Which means we can text you, you don't even have our number.
That's
Boom.
Right. Bam. If you want all of the updates, though, and information, for some reason you're getting all that info and you're like, guys, we need more. We need more. Check out our Facebook page, just Players of the Roundtable, facebook.com/Players of the Roundtable. You can check us out all on there. We have a couple friends of ours as well that we try to share out some stuff on there as well, so you can check out everybody's information all on there. But yeah, guys, we're pretty excited. The next couple weeks are super pumped. Just stay tuned. Stay tuned, guys. We cannot wait to tell you all the good stuff that's happening. And yeah, it's going to be a great time. We're very excited, and we hope you guys are too. So on that note, guys, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. In case you have ADD, it's episode 27, the 23rd. Right? Yeah, 23rd.
Episode 27, October 23rd.
Yeah, October 23rd. Yeah, I probably should have said the month.
Yes, yeah.
But on that note, guys, good evening, good night, and good luck. Have a good one, guys.
See you guys.